The New York turned Florida grifter named Byron Donald, I do not support. He's the clear definition of flip flops. Here's the reasons. Either the big weed companies back him or he backs them, like meaning he supports big weed. I don't. The people already have voted several times in Florida to not allow the legalization of marijuana, but somehow, some way, they're supporting him. So that right there is giving me a telltale sign. If he gets into governorship, he is going to try to basically legalize marijuana. Let me also add, he does not back the whole homestead exemption, eliminating the homestead exemption. He doesn't back it whatsoever, guys. If you notice, he circles around it. He says, no, we need to have other type of tax incentives and other. No, the people that own their homes should be able to not pay any property tax. Why are we still paying rent payments to the federal government for something that we own? He does not support it. He does not back it, guys. Y'all need to stay on him with that. And Florida already have their own drug problems. Half of the people be looking like they are zombies anyway. I don't know what kind of mixture of drugs they're doing. The sugar oligarchs that are in Florida, they back him. And they back him because they want the special exemption for their workers. So I don't know if a lot of people know, like, the sugar farmers, they actually are big heavy hitters around here. So which leads me into the whole thing right now. So prior to that, he didn't have a hard stance on illegal immigration or the H-1B visas. Now he's changing his tune. He's only changing his tunes for votes, because at the end of the day, he's going to switch back because, again, the sugar farmers and other farmers, they don't want strictness on the H-1B visas or any of the visas that would impact them and their workforce. Again, the sugar people have a lot of pull in Florida, unfortunately. The fact that he advocated and sponsored for the amnesty bills, I suggest y'all look into that one. Might I add, he's really for immigration and H-1B visas. Look at the flip-flops. I need y'all to go back to what these people be saying 2-3 years ago. Ted Cruz is endorsing him. Since when do Texas have so much pull in endorsing what's going on in Florida? Mind you, Ted Cruz was MIA the entire time the border was open in his own state. You were MIA, sir. Where was your torch? Where was your microphone? Where was your sound when in your own backyard they were invading the border? Where were you? And you think that you endorsing Byron Donald is going to make Floridians move the needle? He's constantly taking selfies. Sir, aren't you supposed to be working? What are you doing? His wife was supposed to be over some charter school situation called Mason Academy. I'm still looking into that, but there was an audit that was supposed to happen of millions of dollars, and all of a sudden that disappeared. I also get the inclination that he would go after free speech. I don't know. He gives me the inclination he will go after free speech because he's starting to dance around it, especially with people within the Republican Party being very critical of him. And he's saying certain things, and I'm like, you really want to do that? Byron Donalds, your constituent, says you were MIA during the Category 5 with Fort Myers. Where were you, sir? They were looking for a leader, and they said they couldn't find you. He's also endorsed by Randy Fines, and anybody that's endorsed by Randy Fines, it's an immediate no for me, because besides the fact that the guy looked like he really liked war, is when he said his little thing, starve the kids until they released their hostages earlier this year in July. That's who's endorsing. Like, look at the people who's endorsing him, guys. Not to mention, because he doesn't have a squeaky clean record. When you are in those type of tables and when you are in those type of environments and they know that you don't have a squeaky clean record, they use that as like a shiny little whistle to put over a person's head. My issue is not him having a background and him turning his life around. My issue is the fact that he's walking in the swamp and they know that he doesn't have a squeaky clean background. So what that means is they're going to always use that over his head. What that means is they're going to always use that as a back door, as a backroom deal. What that means is they basically have him by the balls, and they could basically he's going to do everything that he needs to do for them because of that squeaky clean, non-squeaky clean record. The fact of the matter is, I didn't agree with some of the stuff that Ron DeSantis did, but what I did like about Ron DeSantis is when it was time to go up against federal government, when it was time to go up against Washington, he stand 10 toes down. We're not going to get that from Byron Donald, primarily because of all the other stuff I said, but also because of he doesn't have a squeaky clean record. That's how they work, guys, over there. I don't see Byron Donalds fighting against Washington, D.C. when it's time to fight and stand up for Florida. We got that from DeSantis, and I truly believe a lot of people still want that for Florida, including me.